our group composed by Mari Corujo,
Coralys Colon,
Alanis Hernandez,
and Sebastian Leon.
We'll be having a book talk on the novel Box.
Stay tuned.
Careful with your words. This was said by the protagonist to her daughter at the beginning of the novel. We chose this quote because it represents the main conflict in the novel. Words can be positive and uplifting, but they can also be threatening and insulting. They have the power to change the world. One word can start or end something. This is why, in the novel Box, written by Christina Dalcher, the government has taken away the freedom of speech from women. The question is, how does it happen?
The story takes place in the United States of America. This novel describes a possible outcome of the society in the United States of America. Some of the main characters were Jane McLennan. She was the narrator and the protagonist of this novel. She deeply describes every single suffering woman passed through in this novel. She was a wife and mother of Leo, Sam, Sonia, and Stephen. She was against the pure movement. Another character was Jackie. She was Jean's best friend. She was a political feminist and saw what was coming before everyone else. Patrick was Jean's husband. He worked for the government and didn't do anything to fight against it. Another important character in this novel was Sonia. She was Jean's and Patrick's youngest daughter. She was unique and very important in this novel because she described the impact of the Christian political movement to the young population. Stephen was Jean's and Patrick's older son. He was an example of the impact of the Christian political movement to the young population because he had a drastic change of state of mind throughout the story. Morgan. He was the leader of the experimental team. Reverend Carl. He was the antagonist of this novel and was the leader of the Christian political movement called Pure Movement. Another important character in this novel was Lorenzo. He was Jean's Italian co-worker and lover. Finally, these characters were deeply affected by the laws stated by the Christian-based government, especially Stephen, because when the government implemented a religion class in schools, he changed his thought on women and turned into an ignorant person. Also, Jean was very worried about Sonia because she thought that Sonia would not have a full development in vocabulary and in expression because of the bracelet Sonia had since she was born that limited her from having freedom of speech.
This is how it happened. Now I want you to place yourself in a society, a male-dominant society, in which government decrees that women can only speak up to a maximum of 100 words per day, and they control this by placing counters on women's arms. A counter is a type of bracelet that can only be taken off by the authorities, and it also counts how many words the woman has spoken. Every time a woman exceeds the word limit, she will receive an electric shock, and with every infraction to the law or extra words spoken, the electric shocks would get worse. In consequence to women living under these circumstances, they stop working and they stop teaching girls how to read. But there's someone who is completely tired of this. It is our protagonist, Jean. She is a mother and a wife who is an expert on the neurological field. She does not want her daughter Sonia to grow up under these circumstances because she can already see how Sonia's development is being affected and how she has stopped expressing herself. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity comes her way, and she accepts. Jean is then recruited to an experimental team, along with Lynn and Lorenzo, who are her co-workers. She makes part of this team with the purpose of developing the Wernicke serum. Little did she know that the authorities had a complete different intention with the outcome of this serum. Turns out, they wanted to create an anti-Wernicke serum, which induces the disease, and then contaminate the country's water supply with this serum. If they did this, everyone would have the disease, and no one would speak coherently. The question is, what will she do? Will she escape? Will she save her daughter from this oppressive America? Or will she simply succumb to this injustice?
It's ironic that women are being limited from their speaking and also take away their right to read, which are factors that encourage critical thinking. There are many themes presented in the novel Vox, like women's repression, religion-based government that is Christianity, also Christianity-based education, and the restriction of women to get the right education. The controversial issue that we decided to take a stand on is that there are women who are still being restricted from getting an education, which means that they can't get jobs because they are not experienced enough, and they also can't develop the ability to think for themselves, which makes them dependent. A news article by the Elite Daily written in 2013 states that there are over 20 prominent nations which discriminate against females by preventing them from learning. Like the novel Vox, girls living in India, a country located in the continent in Asia, virginity and purity is of utmost importance. I may add that Chad, a country in the continent of Africa, only 10% of girls have even completed elementary school, states Elite Daily. In the novel, girls are being taught to be silenced and to be careful with their words because they ought to be pure.
Why should you read the novel Box, written by Christina Dalcher? Well, in this novel, you can perceive the anger of the protagonist. The government has taken away basically everything from her education, her job, but most importantly, her voice. Thank you for your attention.